Today we're going to be taking a brief look at the EasyWalker Harvey2. This is going to be a sort of mini review, meant to give you our initial impressions of the model without going into the sort of detail that we usually do, as well as to test the waters and gauge your interest. Thus, if any of you would like to see a fuller review of the Harvey2 after watching this video, please let us know, and we'll put out something a bit more in-depth in the coming months. Looking at the Harvey2 then, I gotta say, I didn't really think that EasyWalker would come back into focus for us. Many years ago, we were quite fond of a few models from the company, mainly the Sky and Sky Duo. But after these were discontinued and replaced with a succession of models riddled with problems, we'd sort of given up on the brand. The fact that we decided to check out the Harvey2 at all then was a bit of a fluke, a result of a few scattered requests from viewers, a little dead time while waiting on a couple of models to arrive, and the fact that a local store, who generally only stocks better models, had it on the floor. So, remembering those glory days of the old Sky models, we decided to check it out, and we're pleasantly surprised at what we found. In the time since we last looked at their lineup, EasyWalker seems to have turned things around, and the Harvey2 has a number of really positive design qualities. So here are our notes on the model then, starting with a few stats. The Harvey2 is relatively light and compact for a mid-size model, which is how I would classify it based on its size, weight, and overall terrain capability. It clocks in at 12 kilos and folds down to 90 by 60 by 40 centimeters with the seat attached. It can take up to 20 kilos in the seat and 5 kilos in the underslung shopping basket. Design-wise then, there are three main areas that we really like with this model. Firstly, the Harvey2's driving characteristics, its general footprint, meaning the wheels and the front and rear frames, with all their associated mechanisms. The Harvey2 is no off-road monster, even the terrain version, because of the size of its front wheels. But that being said, provided that one sticks predominantly to urban and light off-road terrain, the model offers pretty solid longevity in the form of four-wheel suspension, well-designed frontal connection points with the axles protruding from the chassis itself rather than from the wheels, which mitigates longer-term wear on the front frame. A rotation-based brake system with two brake pins on either side and metal reception points on the insides of the wheels, and, at least on the terrain version that we checked out, well-designed tires with a solid rubberized foam and a tread pattern including a central ridge to facilitate smooth city driving, as well as some traction for rougher conditions. The second element that we really like is the model's folding setup, which is centrally located below the seat in the front and is built in a very simple and sturdy manner. A single point, very much like what one finds on the Baby Zen Yo-Yo, for example, with wraparound chassis elements connected by reinforced hinge points. With this sort of setup, the possibility for any sort of asymmetry issues based on the chassis loosening up over time is virtually zero, at least as far as internal mechanisms are concerned. Lastly, we're highly impressed by just the overall sturdiness of the chassis in general, especially in contrast to its size and weight. All of the connection points, the riveting, and the build of the telescopic handle are very solid. And there's an interesting reason for this, worth noting, because in case you didn't know, the Harvey2 is actually built as a tandem model. It's meant to handle the weight of two children, and has thus been constructed with this in mind, as far as weight capacities are concerned anyway. Please note that I wouldn't necessarily recommend the model as a tandem model though, unless your two-child needs are for a very limited period of time. For a dedicated tandem model, I would personally prefer something a little larger, like the Epibaby Vista for example. But the effects this planning has on the overall structure of the Harvey2 are still worth noting, in that it's built to handle a lot more weight than required, if your plans are to use it for only one child. As far as comfort and functionality aspects are concerned, the Harvey2 gets an OK+ scoring from us, and to be honest, we'd need to check it out a bit more to give a proper evaluation. But a few elements do stand out. On the positive side, we like the zippable shopping basket, the one-piece fold with the seat in the forward-facing, the mechanism for releasing the bassinet, the possibility to raise the seating position with adapters, and the feel of the seat adjustment trigger, which is a mechanism whose feel can often indicate the quality of manufacture, and in this case feels quite solid. On the negative side, the seat size feels only average, maybe even on the small side of average. The leg rest adjustment mechanism is of a slightly weaker design, not too bad but still a step beneath the engineering of the rest of the model. And functionally, the folding mechanism seems a bit counterintuitive, difficult to release with one hand. Though with a bit more time practicing, it's possible that we might feel differently in this case. In the end then, our initial impression of the Harvey2 is that it's pretty sturdy, well designed, and with no major blaring defects to be worried about. I wouldn't necessarily call it groundbreaking, but from an initial look, it's definitely worth checking out. Again though, we're trying to test the waters here, to see how widespread the availability and interest in this model might be. So please let us know if you'd like us to have a closer look, and if enough people are interested, we'll give it a more thorough run-through. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, we ask that you subscribe, as it helps us to continue making videos in the future. In addition, if you are currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description. Thank you.